Adequate notice of this meeting being held this 19th day of February 2026 at 7:32 p.m. has been provided in accordance with section 3D of chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975, commonly known as the Sunshine Law. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Muir.
Here.
Nelson. Here. Lindsay.
Here.
Cotton.
Here.
Letty.
Here.
O'Brien.
Here.
Mr. Decker is excused and Mooney. Here. Thank you.
Motion open for public comment on the agenda.
I make the motion to open a public comment.
I second. Favor?
Aye.
Swallow?
Two things. I didn't get a chance. What is LRIG?
Sorry, the
LRIG grant? What's it stand for?
local recreation.
Oh, that's the recreation grant. Okay. And then for the housing ordinances that are being introduced tonight, when you talk about them, can you just say like what's the impetus for them, the ordinances now? Like, is there some deadline that we needed to do or something to change? So when you talk about it in public, in the introduction, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other public comment on the agenda? The motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion to adopt regular session minutes of January 6th, 2026, which is the reorganization meeting, and no executive session was held.
Make a motion to adopt the minutes of that date.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion to adopt regular session minutes of February 5th, 2026, no executive session was held.
Make a motion to adopt those minutes.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion to adopt resolution 2026-28, authorizing submission of 2026 LRIG grant application.
Make a motion to accept that resolution.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
And I have a motion to pay all bills in the amount of $90,759.16.
I make a motion to pay those bills.
Second? I will second that. And I have a roll call vote, please.
Letty.
Yes.
Cotton.
Yes.
Lindsay.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Muir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, our two valuable presentations this evening, and the first is Krista Reeves from the Muscatine Watershed Association. I'm sharing, we released the bulk, the tree planting program for Heritage Park.
So I'm here to present the final Bethlehem Township Water Quality Report. I did make a hard copy, and a few, and then I also have a one pager for everybody to kind of close it down. Okay, come on.
Thank you.
Where is it that I can stand the people online? Can you see?
The owl is right, it's right.
Right here, so is it best if I just stand here? Okay.
And you can see yourself, I believe, on the laptop. So you can see.
Okay, good. All right. So I just wanted to come and present the final draft of the water quality report that we had been obtained by Hunterdon County to put together for the municipality through funds with the Highlands Council. The report represents several years of monitoring and analysis work that we've done in collaboration with township staff and regional partners, and reviewed with a licensed planner. So the goal for this was really simple, to use real data to understand current water quality conditions and identify practical, achievable next steps. Importantly, this is not a regulatory document, it's a planning tool. Why this matters for you is that top part there. You're pretty unique. This lower part of the watershed sits on a lot of limestone. And I don't know if anybody's seen the news lately in Phillipsburg, where they're having whole dump trucks swallowed up by sinkholes, but that makes this area pretty unique when it comes to water quality. What it does is it essentially creates a tight bond between what happens on the surface, what happens below, and then what happens in the drinking water. So it's a pretty interconnected, geological setting here. So what we are looking to do is to tie together these public health issues, property values, long-term resilience with this plan. Some of the key findings here that are summarized in the one pager, some of the things that we saw with our data is septic related sources and storm vents driving some of these problems with E. coli exceedances, so bacterial contamination in the water, nutrients like nitrogen especially, contaminating drinking water and surface water. Road salt, obviously during winter, we see that, but we're also seeing some of these things happening outside of the winter salting season. In summer, still getting very high pulses of that chloride in the system, and it is affecting some of the municipal drinking water sources. And then not to mention some of the PFAS concerns that have come up over the last couple of years. And not for nothing, but it's not necessarily related only to that Route 31 sludge dump site. We're finding unconnected areas that are having high PFAS levels as well. Some of the flooding, we've talked to the DPW people, they all seem to be river adjacent sites, but we'd like to dig into that a little deeper to make sure there's no stormwater driven areas that are, getting areas that are flooded and creating hazards for people. Some of the actions that are already underway, Mayor Mura just signed some papers so that we can put in an application to do some forest restoration over at Heritage Park. We think this is a really great project. It will help not only restore the forest, but as far as water quality concerns, it'll help infiltrate more water back into the ground instead of being flashy, running off into the streams and carrying with it all those non-point source pollutants. We've also applied for a USDA technical assistance grant to study some of those areas of high PFAS in drinking water to see if it is coming from septic. So with this grant, we would be able to go in and side by side test the effluent of what's coming out of people's septic system and their wells at the exact same time so that we can have this really robust data set. Then we can provide some next steps after that. We're working closely with Natural Systems Utility and American Water on some of these issues to see if, what next steps could be taken there once we have that data back. And then with American Water's grant, we will also further our surface water testing because though we did find high levels in the surface water in the area of the sludge dump, PFAS testing is very expensive. And so with that funding, we'd be able to extend it to see what's coming out of the watershed and into the watershed, some more control points there. And then the next step with this water quality plan is this whole next year of planning. So this next phase is what's called a 9-element plan. It's an EPA approved watershed management plan. It'll take a lot of this data and put it into a larger watershed management plan for Hunterdon County, focused on wastewater issues along with the other surface water issues along in MS4 permit requirements and drinking water to help identify some of those sources and next steps. One of the things that I would like to request tonight is that I get one, maybe two representatives from the municipality to be on a technical advisory committee to help identify the needs of the municipality and some of the opportunities moving forward. It doesn't need to be somebody like an engineer with technical expertise, but they should be able to understand some of the concepts and best management practices we would be talking about and discuss those things. So bottom line, there are water quality challenges for the municipality, but they're all manageable. They're clearly defined. And through collaborative leadership, we do have targeted restoration and proactive plannings as our next step. And honestly, Bethlehem is not behind. You're in front of the curve as far as a lot of these municipalities go. So I did want to put everybody's mind at ease with that. It's not all doom and gloom, that there is a lot of good next steps that we can take, to reduce long-term risk to these pollutants that are in all of the water systems that we find. So, thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I know you had plenty of questions. I'm going to set some time aside to talk to Suzanne separately, and we can, discuss some of those things more at length. But if there were any other questions, I did send an electronic copy ahead of the meeting, so it's not the only copy that I just handed over with the printed copy. So.
Any questions from committee members? I appreciate the report and information that you're working on. No, it's not easy sampling throughout this region, so thank you.
Well, the drought did not do us any
Yeah.
favors. But it did actually provide a lot of information about what's happening with groundwater, because when you're not having any storms, you're actually able to see what's going on with groundwater, because that's the only thing feeding the river at that point. And what we did see when we had that severe drought is that nitrogen levels actually went up. So that means to us that it's been infiltrating into the groundwater for a long time. So that means that we're able to look at those as next steps, instead of just, having it in mind that it's all stormwater driven, non-point source pollutants.
I actually have a question.
Sure.
It might be kind of naive on my part, because we've salted a lot this year, obviously.
Right.
But we also have had now with a huge snowpack, a lot of, I guess, what you would call freshwater. Does that offset each other? Does it help? Does it?
No, not really. What it does is it actually holds on to all those salts, and salt is honestly a proxy. The salt itself is a problem, but it's also a proxy for some of the other non-point source pollutants that are more expensive and harder to test for. 1,4-dioxane, some of the things that come out of your cars, tire rubber, all those types of things. And what it does is it'll hold on to it. And as soon as we get our next big storm, all those things are going to be mobilized and they're going to flash into the streams and start moving into the streams. And we are actually still in drought conditions. So all of that recharge from the snowpack absolutely is needed in the systems. And hopefully we have a nice slow melt so that it infiltrates into the ground. But with the intensity and, some of the storms that we've been seeing, you're getting 4 or 5 inches in a very small amount of time. And that does not allow for things to filter down naturally through the soil and then go back into the groundwater system.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Just a quick question. The testing you're doing, is that through the rivers and streams, or you actually doing well testing too in the areas that?
Yes, so we did well testing. We did actually quite a bit of well testing through the PFAS initiative that we did. So we were able to get not only PFAS samples, but other water quality indicators like pH. We did bacterial testing, things like salt to see if there was salt intrusion in people's wells. So we did quite a bit of that. We did test stormwater. So we waited until New Jersey has a definition of what's called a water quality storm. So that means 1.25 inches within a certain amount of time. So we waited for those perfect conditions to align and then went out and sampled culverts so that we could see what was actually coming out of the stormwater pipes and surface water. So we've tested not just the main stem of the Musconetcong, but the other tributaries that feed into it as well.
And then has there been any concerns? I know with the issues going on over Warren County, but all that, has there been any issues with that drainage making its way over into Bethlehem Township?
There is into the river, absolutely. As far as how the groundwater plumes are going, the EPA did a geotechnical study on that. They don't think it's crossing the river coming into Bethlehem Township, but we have found pockets of very high PFAS that don't seem to be connected. So there seem to be other sources, and that's what we hope to find out.
Found in Bethlehem Township.
Yep.
That we have in areas coming.
Yeah, so we're using the neighborhood that's off of Apgar. I don't know if you know exactly what I'm talking about there, but I think it was pretty much everybody but a handful had their wells tested. And I would hazard to guess that about 9 out of 10 of them had exceedances in the PFAS family. So I have reached back out to several people in that neighborhood and asked them if they would be amenable to us coming back and doing further testing at our expense through the USDA grant of not only their drinking wells, but their septic effluent to see if that is a pathway that's happening. I do remember talking to somebody here at one point about that it might be a leak in a fire hydrant well that is at the beginning of that neighborhood. That's something else I would like to explore. Once we have the funding for that, because where are they getting the water they're putting into the fire hydrant well? So if you're moving water from place to place, that could be a concern to understand sources. So.
But every 2 years, I believe the fire companies do a drill there, and the water comes directly from the Muscanac lines.
Okay, so if that's the source, then,
Yeah,
right, yeah, talking to somebody there.
See, there's a leak there. The fire companies haven't reported any loss of water. They
Right,
do check it and they rely upon it for that development, and they do a drill there, but I'll find out.
yeah, so high up on the mountain, I can't imagine that it's coming from the Route 31 site and you have the river in between. It's gotta have its own source, and if 9 out of 10 of them are having this issue, that does seem that there is another point source for that. So being able to tie that to its source or understand if, pathways through everybody's own septic system is an issue, then we can start logically talking about what the next steps for septic management is. If there's any retrofits, filtration systems that could be put on that would help remediate some of those issues. So understanding where it's coming from in the first place is going to be super helpful.
Any other question? Floor is open for public comment or questions.
Make a motion to open to public comment?
Second. In favor?
Aye.
Any questions from the public? On the vote?
Motion to close.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
I don't put anybody on the spot, but if you're looking for one or two, Mr. Clay, you and I are the two that are on the planning board and spend the most time with land use issues. I'd be willing to volunteer if you are as well.
Sure.
Yeah, I can pretty much say it would be 2-3 meetings. We can make it as flexible as possible. We could do it online. We could do it at our office. We could come here. So we're willing to work with your schedule. I know everybody's busy, so thank you for that. I will make a note of that and I will follow up once we have a schedule and a full technical advisory committee together.
Thanks, that's the
All right, thank you.
presentation and all the work that you do.
Yes, thank you.
Our next presentation, Pat from Skylands Preservation. If you just state your full name this time.
Yeah, my name is Pat Baines. I'm with Skylands Preservation. I function as the treasurer. So I do have I gave you some handouts. It's a little bit different than what's on the screen there, but I guess it's gonna be a little tough to see.
Although,
Basically, it's the same information and a little bit more.
Pat, I'm actually gonna ask if you can speak, near your computer or by the screen. I think the camera will pick you up.
Okay.
Audio, since I think other people are interested in this, that may not be here tonight, but you probably see these on our YouTube channel, so.
Yeah, I sent the electronic copy of what I have on the screen.
Okay. I'll give that electronic copy, we can, share that.
I'll see you on next Thursday. All right, let me see. I got a few minutes. Let me get him first. So you think I can stand over here? Or like right here?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try that.
Thank you.
So really I got a couple more if anybody wants one. Yeah,
Has
sure.
that been revised? Because I did have one from a while ago.
Okay.
If it's, so,
It's kind of the same. So really for you all, this is kind of a update of what's going on in Franklin Township, which affects you because you're right next door. As Richard was saying before, this is a repeat and repeat for this kind of issue of warehouses right now. The Heritage Farm is getting active again. That's on Bloomsbury Road. The Tobias Farm on Bloomsbury Road is getting active again. Very active. They're in front of the township land use board right now. And there's also the Tinsley. It's right next to Four Paws on Route 173. all right across the street from the Muscatine. So this kind of depicts. You have Bloomsbury Road, you got the river, here's Tobias, 100+ acres. This has been broken up, they're gonna shave some of this off, at almost 90 acres here. And then the Tinsley is right around the corner on Route 173. Again, proposed. And this is what we're trying to protect. We're trying to, two big things, truck traffic, pollution, and pollution to the river. That's kind of the big thing. And the Tinsley has 3 culverts that run under Route 173. Everything from Tinsley is gonna go through those culverts right into the Muscatine. So that's a big to-do. So this is Heritage. You're looking east to west. Bloomsbury Road is right over here. So that this is part of Tobias right here. But this area, the last time they went through this, Frank Greek had a project back in 2009, 2010. He finally went away. This was his where they had 6 buildings. Now they're looking at 4 buildings, but still they'll have 100+ loading docks, plus all the impervious coverage that goes along with that. Right now they're looking at 850,000 square foot. So this is just a little historical on that of what happened before. They got to a certain point, then they went away. They were gonna hit too much from the county and state. It wasn't just Skylands preservation. We brought it to people's attention, but they realized it was too many obstacles, too many environmental issues that they had to deal with. But they're back. So they have new plans. They've gone from 64 buildings down to 650,000 square foot. And they're submitting a stormwater management information to the county and state. And there's no application at the township, Franklin Township at this point, but it's expected in the spring, which is what, a couple months away, a month away. And Franklin Township seems to be on board with it. Throwing a couple of pictures just for yucks. So this is interesting. This is the Tobias property. Urargi is kind of owns it now. And so Bloomsbury Road is right out front here. So it's kind of just like this. They plan on putting their warehouse here. This is an old plan. New plans are available at the township right now. They're still putting the warehouse up. They went from 1.2 million square foot to 817,000 square foot, 150 truck stalls. And then additional parking for another 85 trucks. So what happened here was, here's this intermittent stream. It's not always there, but when we get heavy rains and when it's a wet season, this is flowing, goes across to the Heritage property. And then it comes right and flows right into the Muscatine. That's the pathway. So what's really interesting about this is that it's a turn perspective. I apologize, but here's Bloomsbury Road. Here's the intermittent stream. So that the developer, we sued the DEP because they didn't show the intermittent streams. So this was a while back. So we ended up suing the DEP. They came back with this remand in 2022, which says, hey, guess what? There are intermittent streams there. We admit it, it's there. We got them to all the permitting that had been started, stopped. And now this whole area within the green, 300 foot on either side of the intermittent stream, they can't build. So this basically shuts down anything that they want to do. But what they've done is, based on that remand decision, they went to the appellate court and said, hey, we're challenging this change, saying that the intermittent stream's there, we don't care. We're at the appellate court and we're fighting this. That's been there since 2022, and here it is 2026. No judge has looked at it yet. So while they're continuing to fight to say that the stream doesn't exist, they've gone to the DEP. Now it's out of the DEP's hands because it's at the appellate court level. But they've gone, just last year, they went to the DEP and for a flood hazard individual permit with a hardship exemption to say, hey, guess what? The stream is there, but we want to move it. So that's right now at the DEP level. So they're saying it doesn't exist. We want to move forward. It does exist. We want to move the stream. In the meantime, they've gone to Franklin Township and public hearings should start. I don't think they can start in March because they need a bigger space because of public, but definitely in April, they'll be presenting. So as Richard said to me earlier, buy the property. Well, people have offered to buy the property, but they won't talk to anybody. They're hung up on doing their thing. They want to do their thing and they don't want to hear about selling it to anybody. The Rod and Gun Club is offered to buy. The state of New Jersey has offered to buy. So this is a tough one. We're hoping we're going to make out pretty well, but what's happening to our group is we're fighting the smallest project, which is the Tinsley, which has been going on for a while, more than Musconetcon. Thanks to Mr. Travis. So here you have right here, here's Four Paws, here's Route 78, exit 6, coming down Bloomsbury Road, Route 173, Bloomsbury. So right behind Four Paws, they want to put in, it's 185,000 square foot. I think there's only like 40 something loading docks, but it's just that here it's the traffic. Their driveway exit for tractor trailers and cars is going to be 150 foot from the intersection with Bloomsbury Road. So really to you, it's a traffic issue, gigantic. All of a sudden you're talking hundreds of trucks if these things start going through. And I know you can't, as your entity, you can't do anything about it, but we're hoping by coming here tonight, let your township people know that, you know, people are trying to fight this thing, and whether they want to write letters, donate money, come to meetings, do something to support not having this nightmare in our adjacent towns. I wish home rule existed. It doesn't. This particular project, we were at a meeting the other night. Basically, all they have, their concern is the roadway right here. They don't have to address what happens here. They don't have to address what happens here. And, you know, to me, the whole system's kind of messed up that they don't take traffic that much into account when they make these decisions, but we will feel it. I mean, I live right in front of Tobias. So that'll be basically in my backyard. So this project, it started last February. They went through testimony till early fall and came to the conclusion that some of their board members on the land use board should have had recused themselves, and they did not. So they started in October, they started over with testimony. Is what it is, costs us a fortune. We have our lawyer there, professionals there. So we went through basically 10 months or 8 months of having, you know, professionals and lawyers and whatnot, and now we're starting over. At the township level, there's not a whole heck of a lot they can do unless they need certain variances that can't be provided. The Tobias and the heritage is a problem because Franklin Township has it zoned as industrial. Tougher fight, for sure. But we are going to fight them. We're going to fight all three of them. I think on Tinsley so far we've spent maybe $40,000. Mainly on lawyers, professionals. We haven't even got to our professionals' testimony yet, but that's coming soon. So, not the greatest thing to bring to you all, but at least to let you know it's happening and it's right in your backyard. 178, you know what happens when there's a problem on 78. You can't even pull on to 173. So imagine another 300, 400 trucks a day. They're going to break all the rules. They're going to go where they're not supposed to go. They're going to do what they have to do to keep moving. And they don't really care about tickets. Tickets is the cost of doing business. So if they have to go on a road they're not supposed to go on, they're just going to do it. I guess I can't really blame them, but it affects us greatly. And that's what I wanted to share with you all. Not to be the prophet of doom and gloom, but you know, it's happening.
I appreciate, you and I have spoken multiple times. I
Yes.
appreciate all the work that you're putting in, the time, the dedication, and I wanted you to be here to present and share. I think our committee, for the most part, is pretty active and understands what's going on. We've spoken to our legal counsel to see what we can do as a municipality, through this as well. We talk to Bloomsbury quite often, but with that though, are there any questions from our committee? A motion to open to the public for any public questions.
Yes.
Open public.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Should be a little bit for 24 Charles Summer. So you're focusing a lot on the truck traffic. Obviously, what happens when it's not trucks, it's a data center or a detention center? So if you only focus on the trucks as your main arguing point, and they come back like Tinsley, I know, it's not a warehouse, it is a warehouse, blah, blah, blah. You know, they could decide to change the use of it and not have
Okay.
trucks.
We're focusing on warehouses because that's what's happening in our area of Warren County. That's, and Hunterville also, but the problem is Skylands Preservation Alliance, we have a group, four people do this, and we've raised thousands of dollars. Again, we've already spent 40,000 on Pensley. We can't fight everything, but we're more, for that, I mentioned the trucks because it affects Bethlehem Township. We're concerned about pollution. We're concerned about the river. And the river's helping us a lot because it's so protected. They gotta go through a lot of hoops and whatnot to be able to even discharge to the river, which potentially will do a direct discharge. So you gotta pick your battles.
No, I know, I'm talking about these three sites in particular, these three.
Oh, they're right here.
warehouses.
They're here. Open up that center page, you can see how close they are.
Houses. I'm just saying, if you only focus on truck traffic, it might not.
Well, I think for Bethlehem Township, so I've spoken to other elected officials and tried to talk to some of our neighboring municipalities, and I'll be upfront. A couple people said, "What do you care, Paul? Because it's not in your town." And I said, "I care because it's a quality of life issue for my municipality and residents." And while we don't live on 173, half my town has to drive through that area of 173 to get to the other parts of town. Well, you do, I mean, but I'm saying this portion is not Bethlehem Township 173. But there's a significant number of Bethlehem Township residents that are gonna have to deal with the traffic, so I think, you know, I'm just saying, I think, you know, our conversation, and I've seen you and Skylands do, very comprehensive when it comes to environmental.
Absolutely.
It's just that, but here for Bethlehem, you know, I'm gonna give us some credit, it's extremely difficult, nothing's impossible, extremely difficult to place a warehouse here in Bethlehem, but we can't control what's around us, and we've done a good job. But we're subject to things that are happening to us, and so, you know, what I've asked, and I'm hoping to pursue, and I don't think it will come quick enough to address these issues, but I've asked, you know, elected officials that are much higher up, in the state government for about home rule. I am actually a big supporter of home rule for a variety of reasons, but when it comes to development, with affordable housing and warehouses and everything else, I would love a discussion around regional planning. Because
Well, that's super important, because even Jim Kern, the commissioner that's involved, you know, on a regional basis, they don't have any power behind what they do. They can put out reports and make suggestions of what should be done, but there's no regional planning for having 3 warehouses within 4 miles of each other. There's no planning of what the traffic impact and the quality of life impact everybody. And even Greenwich, I mean, they're not happy about the Tensley, but they may be entertaining an AI structure by 173 and 78.
Right, I guess that was my point, and I think
Well, we're out of money. We're gonna donate some money and we'll go fight that.
I did
Do
send
it
you
all.
money, but I just sent you $50 again today, but
Very nice.
I guess my point is the pollution and the use of farmland for impervious coverage that serves no real value, in my opinion, does affect Bethlehem Township. The quality of the river is gonna affect Bethlehem Township. Flooding is gonna affect Bethlehem Township, even forgetting all the truck issues. I guess that's more of my point. The structure itself is gonna be a problem.
Absolutely. I mean, I brought up the one
Bethlehem
point,
Township.
I brought up the main thing of trucking. I mean, I could talk about the pollution aspects, the impervious coverage. I'm worried about my well going dry, things like that. But because there's nothing really that you can do legally to support us, at least understand the impact for Bethlehem Township is trucks and a lot of.
Well, and residents in Bethlehem can give you money. Because it is gonna affect everybody in Bethlehem, even me on my side of the mountain there.
It's a common fight for all of us in this, that live in this area.
Exactly.
I have a question, and I don't think this falls under you. Where does the Skylands boundary end? Where are you just?
We pretty much have been focusing in Warren County and into Hunterdon County. We really have no boundary per se, but we've come to realize we have financial limitations. So other things that may come up that might be, in Greenwich, if they go after the AI facility, we would fight that, but we wouldn't be able to provide lawyers and professionals for that. It's overwhelming us already.
Oh, yeah, I think you got involved, I think Union, I think they were, I would say saved because of Ed Mahan, so, and you correct me, because I think you were involved, but they were looking at, warehousing along Foster Wheeler and,
Yes.
housing, and, Union was, as we all are, as we see with our ordinances tonight, meeting affordable housing requirements, it was kind of being, negotiated so that affordable housing would be provided so that they could build warehouses. But Edna Mahan is closing, moving, and I saw Union Township recently made a statement that they're moving their affordable housing so that balance, they're not forced to build affordable housing and give somebody warehousing. So I think it's probably on hold, and it's probably more of a challenge because there's no benefit to Union at this point because they found another place for their affordable housing.
Yeah, when it starts getting too far from us or what we consider our immediate area, then we work with like Sierra Club and other groups, other grassroots organizations that are trying to fight, and we try to assist them. We try to tell them, give them guidance on, what do you do? How do you fight something like that? And so we do have programs, and we've gone and talked to other organizations to give them a hand to say, this is what you need to do. So we would do functions like that, more educational.
Any other questions? Public, anybody on Zoom?
I see a fox there.
Sorry, it's all right. We have a motion to close public room.
Motion closed.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Hi. Thank you very much for your time. You're running the well-oiled machine now.
Well, thank you, and I'm gonna share, our social media that you made this presentation, and all of our meetings are available, via YouTube. So I think there's a lot more, even though there's not residents present in the room, I think there are a lot of residents interested in what you're doing that'll be watching this through the weekend and many days ahead. And we'll keep the communication open, because, we do want to be involved and support as we can.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Report of municipal engineer, Mr. Decker is excused this evening. I did request a conversation with him earlier today. He'll be watching this video as well to provide any engineering response or support based on the testimony and or I shouldn't call it testimony, but the information shared with us this evening. There are no reported public safety officials either, and touch base with our trooper liaison this week also, but nothing of significance to share. There's no old business, under new business, motion open discussion to request to allow alcohol and food trucks at park for graduation parties at 2026. No motion open that discussion.
Make a motion to open that discussion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Can somebody share? This is one thing I did not just, what is the request? It's a graduation party and they want to have,
They want to serve alcohol at the park.
Okay.
And they also wanna have food trucks.
Yeah.
Food trucks currently, our ordinance has that we have to charge them, well, $75.
Correct.
But then the county will also charge them another 100 to do the inspection.
I think it's what it is for now, we can address it.
Do we know the hours of the party? How late it's gonna?
Let's see.
Michael, do we have a whole harmless policy also?
Yeah, they name us as additional here as part of that application process, so we're protected.
And alcohol is only regulated to the, temporary, right?
Do the,
I was gonna say gazebo. Okay,
Thank you, Steve.
well, we have a gazebo, but I don't wanna say gazebo.
All right, so they wanna, start setting up at 11. Start time would be 12. Cleanup time up to and including 5. So from 11 a.m. to 5. Okay.
Be interesting to see if they can get the food trucks for the.
The evening.
How many people?
well, I could pay the,
Yeah.
the communication.
75.
So they'll be reserved the pavilion for that night.
Yes, and having the trucks parked, this is by the pavilion.
Maybe go out before, so.
Yeah, I have the objection to it. Only they have the insurance and they'll cover the cost for all those permit fees.
So they'll pay the county
Yes,
fee and they will also pay the township
Yes.
fee of 75.
Correct,
Okay. And alcohol is being allowed.
yeah, under the pavilion.
And then the food trucks are subjected to whatever health
Okay.
regulations.
And I have a motion to approve this request.
Make a motion to approve?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I have a motion to close discussion.
Make a motion to close discussion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have a motion to introduce ordinance 500-2026, affordable housing ordinance.
Make a motion to, introduce ordinance 500/2026, affordable housing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You wanted to,
we're just doing them together.
okay,
The public hearing was scheduled to March 5th, 2026, and this will be referred to the planning board for master plan consistency review. Can I have a motion to introduce 501-2026 Highlands Affordable Housing Ordinance, a motion to introduce this?
I make a motion to introduce ordinance 501/2026, Highlands Affordable Housing.
Second. Favor?
Aye.
Again, public hearing scheduled for March 5th, 2026. Actually should ask for a motion that both of these be sent to, planning board for master plan consistency review.
I make a motion to send both of these ordinances to planning board.
I'll second it.
Favor?
Aye.
So we'll, open for discussion and questions, during the hearing, but, Mr. Vadian, do you want to explain a little bit? This is in response to the Labor Day filing, is that?
Yeah, so-
The
Suzanne,
midnight.
I can't see, it's way behind there. We have a settlement agreement with Fair Share, that's been signed by the judge. And we don't have a current requirement for any COA units, which is, very unusual. And there's a few reasons for that, but mainly it's lack of sewer and now we're in the Highlands. Adjacent municipalities have obligations, up to 2,400 affordable units. And part of the settlement agreement, we go through, our planner goes through analysis on vacant land, our zoning, some of the environmental constraints. And we look at areas that may be designated for affordable housing. The township has tried to get some group homes and some other organizations that would provide for some credits for affordable housing. But part of our settlement agreement with Fair Share, that's been signed by the judge and are strictly enforced, is the requirement to enact this new model ordinance. And this ordinance is pretty much what every municipality is required to enact And basically it says, if you're building, residences for any, 5 units or more, so, you know, a 6-unit subdivision or a multifamily property, then you're required to have a 20% set aside to low, moderate, and moderate affordable housing. And with that, some of the technicalities in this where we have any input is things like requirements, like we're requiring that if there's an affordable housing project, the materials must be, you know, at least the exterior materials must be the same fit, quality, and finish as the market rate units. We also talk about durations of the deed restrictions. So for example, if you're building, you know, a 10-unit, affordable housing project, you'd actually deed restrict the units for a period of 30 years, and they can be extended for another 30 years. That will provide that they cannot sell, these units at market rate until the expiration of the controls. Since 2004, municipalities have had the power and opportunity to extend controls. So if you have a huge obligation and you don't want new affordable housing, you pay some, typically $10,000–$15,000, and extend those controls out to the 60-year maximum limit. So that's another part of this, you know, where we have a little bit of input. We work with our planner, to appropriately address, you know, where we have input in the model ordinance, but, you know, 99% of the ordinance is the same ordinance that every town is gonna be required to enact, if they wanna have immunity from builders' remedies. And that's really the threat here. We're in compliance. We've been in compliance for years, and we wanna stay protected, and in compliance so that, a builder's remedy lawsuit says, hey, we can take any property, anywhere. It doesn't have to be zoned multifamily. It can be zoned single family on 10 acres. And we're gonna force through the courts, the municipality to build affordable housing complex. So that's what we want to avoid. You know, we want the control of the planning board to appropriately address build outs for affordable housing. There's limits as it relates to the amount of affordable housing that can be over 55 communities, all kinds of different parameters on rentals versus for sale units. Typically, you know, if you have a rental project, you only have to dedicate 15%, whereas a 20% set aside for sale market rate units. So this just, you know, essentially in our ordinance codifies the requirements for developers for more than 5-unit multifamily developments to be inclusionary, to include a set aside of affordable housing units, typically like, you know, a 20% 1-bedroom, 60% 2 bedrooms, 20% 3-bedroom ratio. So this really details very specifically what the developers have to comply with, what the town has to require, and it addresses things like if there's a fractional unit that's owed, this option that we've taken allows the municipality to get a payment in lieu for that fractional, you know, amount of a unit that they would owe, things like that. So it's very detailed. It's, you know, 50-something pages, but it is the model ordinance that all municipalities are required. We have to upload these documents pursuant to Judge Menon's order by March 16th. So with that time frame, you know, I'd be happy to go over this in any detail that anybody's interested in. This is a huge time crunch for every municipality. And we don't even have projects and rezoning and overlay zoning, huge issue in land use in the state of New Jersey. But we have a series of measures that we're going to try to encourage certain sites to be developed with affordable housing. And unfortunately, some of the regulation that we see has prevented some of that housing to be built. For example, you know, fire suppression and in-ground fire tanks, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Very difficult to justify a group home when you need a $200,000 stainless steel tank for emergency fire suppression and sprinklers. So and of course, there's other, regulatory issues that the developers run into to make some of the smaller projects not cost feasible. DEP regulates and limits daily gallonage to 2,000 gallons a day. A house has maybe 350 gallons a day in water usage, so it prohibits without having city water and septic, large scale development when you exceed those gallon per day limits. So we're in a unique position here in Bethlehem Township. We want to encourage certain smart affordable housing, and we're required to engage in this process with Fair Share Housing, who's essentially the advocacy group that's taken over for COA, since COA was sort of defunded in the late, in the Christie administration. So Fair Share Housing is now stepping in. The court has found them to have standing to work with all the regional planners, civil engineers, traffic engineers, municipal authorities. So that's the reason for this enactment of this ordinance. Formally requires that set aside, then determines specifically what developers need to do, what we need to do as a municipality, and the length of the controls on these deed restricted sites.
Two questions, Mike. One, the settlement that you talked about, does that cover round 3 and round 4?
Yes,
So we have it for 10 years at least.
correct.
The second question is, there was an instance that came up that was kind of discerning to me. From your knowledge, land that we have in farmland preservation, could that be taken out and made, forced to go into affordable housing?
No, so that's another, and I encourage everybody to read the culverts and deeds, and it specifically talks about what uses can go on land that's preserved with open space funds. It's essentially one farmhouse and then agricultural use only. There's no roadways. I mean, it gets very technical on the amount of deed restrictions that are required to be recorded. You can have passive recreation, you can have hunting, not to a private club, but fair to everybody. You can have hiking paths. You can't have pavement, you can't have additional impervious, you can't have asphalt, but you can have, roadways that service the farms or the stewardship programs, things like that. Agriculture is going to be a permitted use, and that's pretty much the only permitted use on these preserve farms other than passive recreation.
Are you speaking specifically for municipal leased property or the state SABC?
So the state, what's been happening recently is that the open space the funding comes from the state, and it can also come from the county. There's 100 Land Trust as an organization that also kind of coordinates the farmers, the old farmers, talking to the townships, and coordinates with to try to get the funding. So we do own certain properties. We own certain properties with the Audubon Society, but it's trending in a direction that the state wants a little more control. The state ultimately approves all the documents to make sure that everything's consistent with the language in the restrictions and needs. So.
No, it just came up in the State Ag Development Committee and some of the municipalities and counties. And there's a concern about whether the state can actually remove some of the easement to provide for affordable housing. So it's just something that is in the wind.
Yeah. I would be surprised if, a recorded deed restriction is, pretty bulletproof in my opinion, especially for open space. It gets a little fuzzier when we need open access through open space or an easement or a water main. Those are the things that we're seeing, to try to get potentially some relief, from some of those deed restrictions, but up here, I can't imagine that would be an issue. We've preserved a lot of land, we continue to work. It's money that we should be using up to preserve farms. Unfortunately, in Bethlehem Township, there's really not many large parcels left. And, the zoning is such that it's pretty high acreage per buildable lot. So, some of these old farmers have to balance, does it make sense to potentially develop the land or submit to open space? Open space is not, it really depends on what your density is, but it's not top dollar. It is a fair price. And it can be millions of dollars. So depending on your environmental constraints, which is really the other limiting factor for land development, slope has been a huge issue. A lot of our preserved land is on incredible slopes, 14-20% grades. So great land to preserve. It's not going to be developed. We can get it at a reduced rate for those super slopey lots that have environmental constraints.
Thank you.
Mr. Jimenez is our open space and farmland preservation on both roles, and so he's identified an open space property for us, so we'll be talking about,
Yes.
potentially talk about that, and then the state has enhanced the farmland preservation, so I think there's a couple farms we're gonna try to revisit with the new enhanced, hopefully acreage spread.
So for the planning board, March 19th, this has to be approved by then?
Yeah, so this should be on the
The agenda for
next Monday, yeah.
Okay.
That'll come
Everybody
back.
knows about it.
And so is there any other follow-up questions? There'll be the public hearing March 5th, plus an opportunity to planning board.
Can we just ask like general questions now, or public, or do you want me to wait?
We'll do it when we're not in public. Doug, that was nicely reported, Township Attorney, anything else to,
No, that's all I have.
very good, thank you. Report of Health and Safety Coordinator, Mr. Lindsay.
Nothing at this moment.
Report of Finance Coordinator, myself and Ms. Nelson, I'll chair, we had our first budget meeting of the year at 6 o'clock, today, and, that was a public meeting, it was recorded as well, when we shared, in the, YouTube archives. But I will share again my gratitude for all of our department heads for submitting their budgets, being frugal. And Ms. Mooney, she's administrator and CFO, but the CFO role, putting together the budget proficiently. Ms. Nelson and I met with Ms. Mooney to go over it before tonight. And I'm excited about our budget, and despite challenges of the increased costs in the world that we live in. Our budget is actually less than it was in 2022, and Ms. Nelson and I became mayor and deputy mayor. It was $4.1 million back then. This budget is $3.3 million 4 years later. We will be debt free once we pay off the final note in June, because that's when it's due. We went from a 17% reserve to almost a 50% reserve at this point. So not only do we pay off the debt, we've then rebuilt the savings of the town. So we have about $1.6 million in capital in the reserve fund and $1 million in the open space fund. And we will be debt free. We are increasing contributions to the fire companies in this, and we are purchasing one new dump truck because one was in an accident. So a portion of it's paid for through insurance. The other is paid for out of the budget with no debt being acquired. And with that, we are reducing the municipal tax rate, 13.24%, to be determined based on the next two budget meetings. But the impact of the average home in Bethlehem Township will see a reduction in their municipal tax of $226. Do not see any other municipalities reducing their tax.
The increase in the electric bill.
And the rest of the world is not helping us, but we're gonna do our best as a municipality to do that. So our next meeting, will be at 6 p.m. at the March 5th meeting. There'll be a couple minor tweaks to this, but I don't expect anything significant. And then it'll be introduced, it'll be introduced soon after, for approval and adoption. So thank you to everybody for all the hard work.
Good job. Great job. Thank you.
Report of land use coordinator, but
It's getting pretty busy. So we're gonna have a very busy year. We've got a bunch of applications coming in, speaking of Canada. It's gonna be a busy year.
you come in. So keep everybody updated on what's, they're in various states and phases, so
We're gonna be getting, Monica's gonna be making a list and just showing timetables and everything like that, so.
I think we're monitoring about 11 now, so they're in different.
They're all over the place, and I could not remember all that.
Any of them like subdivisions or housing, or they're all minor issues?
All, individual property, 3 site plans for commercial properties, but not a subdivision. And maybe more, but there are 3 that I know
Yeah, there's a lot, we're trying, yeah, we discussed it at the last meeting, that it's just to get a handle on it, we're gonna have basically a little sheet in our books that will tell us what's going on, when they came in, and because they're coming in regularly right now.
of. Thank you. With that report of governing body members, would you play again?
So I've been doing some stuff with IT, I got Monica up and running with 2 monitors.
Excellent.
I looked and I can get, Jen up and running pretty quickly, we just have to get the monitors, that's a piece of cake.
Yeah, it needs like 6 monitors.
6 monitors, and 6 might be fun. What I want to do is I'll be back here on Monday, or Tuesday, I'm gonna take some pictures. I think I could save us some money by manually adjusting the Wi-Fi routers. Wi-Fi routers are all shooting up the spaces, so, it's not the best for serving anything under here. So I'm gonna take a look at that and see what I can do there. I'll put together a little presentation on that, just, some things to save us some money, because some of the prices that they quoted to me are just obscene. I mean, we can have the capability to do that, fix it here, we can save thousands of dollars, so. Takes me 5 minutes with a piece of wood or something like that. Rather just do that.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Anything else?
That's it.
What you got?
No report tonight.
Gillespie?
No report right now, so we're pretty good.
Anything else?
I was feeling from Jen's report, the her and I met last week with an audio visual company about enhancing the acoustics in this room. Have you heard that after you sent the pictures? I meant to ask you before the meeting. I don't think they got back to us yet. They're supposed to get back to us with a preliminary plan as to what we would need, how to hang the TVs, or whether we put something on our little cards, which I didn't agree with. And then they were gonna get back to us with a preliminary set. I don't think that okay. All right, so we'll follow up.
Okay.
We'll follow up and then get a quote to see what it would cost to try and get it a little bit better in here. We've been talking about it for a long time, but now we have a physical company that can come in and actually look.
That we have it.
Yep. That's it right now.
Thank you. Rolls right in, Township Administrator report.
So going off of what Judy said and Jeff with the IT, Lou did get us a new router. He didn't install it because when he tested this one, he said the download and the upload speed was pretty good. So I don't know how we figure out what the issue is. I mean, the computer works for Zoom, you don't have an issue, but for Tor, why they can't connect, and I know you had.
I did one issue once, it's just I'm just worried about the consistency of it.
Right, so,
Check.
it just seems like it's hit or miss with that, and we just don't know.
So, I mean, we're working on it. Did we import this last Tuesday?
No,
Okay, we have it this coming Tuesday.
yes.
I wonder if the judge brings his personal laptop.
Security issue.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, if there's
But
a
they-
firewall issue.
But they've used this laptop here. The laptop that we use for Zoom, they've had up here on the dais and,
Still had
they
issues.
have- yes.
Unless there's a blind spot.
Well, that's what I'm.
Yeah, we've got a Wi-Fi analyzer, so what really needs to be done is kind of like a survey of what's available in each location and how we want to improve it, if improvement is needed. And I volunteer to come by anytime you need me with the Wi-Fi analyzer to check the signal strength of the different Wi-Fi services in the building. But I mean, it needs to be done. It needs to be done as a comprehensive plan across the entire site, as opposed to doing it piecemeal, I think, which is what we've been doing up to this point.
I agree, thank you, Lou, we'll coordinate with you, and I think that's what needs to be done, I mean, we'll see what. Like I said, I've never really had an issue. There was one Friday that I was working, from here and had an issue trying to, log into the Wi-Fi. But usually it's pretty consistent and the planning board had an issue last meeting as well, which was the same weekend that I had an issue, so. I just don't, we usually record public meetings. I absolutely love that we record these meetings to make them available, so I don't wanna, jeopardize that.
The other thing I think we need to find out is whether for the court access, particularly the judge and the attorneys that are working, whether they can use the court network as opposed to our network. Because the courts, Donna has a completely separate network that comes in there that she uses, that she's hardwired to.
Yeah.
It's not that Wi-Fi up there?
No, that connects through us, they're hardwired back here.
But the judge's laptop tries to use the
The
Wi-Fi.
judge's laptop tries to use that, which is why I was wondering if there's.
Yeah.
He may have levels of security because of court. That prevent whatever. We should try getting an Ethernet cord out here or something.
I think they do, in the end, they pull from this, when you can't get the Wi-Fi, they disconnect this phone or.
I don't think that,
they use
I
it.
know Ruth was on her cell phone trying to,
I think we can talk about it out. Yeah, we don't need to.
Okay, anything else for your,
just we have the heater ordered for the hall.
Yeah, replace it.
To replace that, and the switch,
Okay.
for the light here. So that, hopefully will be coming in shortly and we'll get that fixed. There was an issue in the men's bathroom, I guess there was no hot water, so that's been fixed. And
okay, anything else? Any questions? Okay, thank you. The report of mayor, I have no significant report, I would just say, the responder, I think you saw there's an new invasive species, bill that was approved. And, I sit on multiple legislative committees, and there's some changes to potentially our energy tax receipts, but nothing else that's impacting us, or Bethel Township significantly right now. No report beyond monitoring, state legislation that may be affecting us. Have a motion to open public comment?
Make a motion to open the public comment.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
They want to work regarding the invasive, I forget what trees you get, but I'm imagining you can't.
Yeah,
I might change the list. I don't think it will, because I think you're pretty good about getting natives, but like.
oh, yeah, no, they'll be all natives, they'll, hopefully they get a bigger variety this year.
Yeah.
Like we talked at the last meeting, last year, they were trying to grow the seedlings or something, and they were taking a year off, and there were only 4 species available last year.
I think the state was actually looking for volunteers to be part of the commission to monitor. I
Yeah,
think they were, I think it's part of the bill establishes a monitor, just,
are you assigning Judy?
I was.
Actually, that was direct.
Yeah, I don't think so.
In my opinion, you're my expert on invasive species, so.
Yeah, so regarding the, affordable housing ordinance, so, I think I understand what it was, I know all the background, why we have affordable housing and blah, 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 blah. But so this is because it was required and we did our, amended housing element fair share plan. It says it in the introduction, which I didn't read in. So my question actually is, so you said it was a model ordinance, but it's replacing what we already have. Was it, like, when you wrote this up, was it kind of a mix of what we have and then?
It's actually been released, last week on the Department of Community Affairs website, DCA. I can forward it to you too.
No, that's okay. No, so that's kind of this whole thing is you got.
Yeah, well, they really want uniformity
Mhm.
with all of the municipalities to have a standard
Affordable housing
set aside, right?
chapter.
Here's what you gotta do, developers. Down to the building material details, but the most important things that they focus on are the different mix of who qualifies for affordable housing.
I saw that. The low, the very low.
Right, the different makeup
Mhm.
of the units that are provided.
Mhm.
Those are the, the two big things that, and they wanna make sure that it's integrated. Like, round one or round two, I think it was round one of COA was the hills. In Bedminster and Bridgewater. And they put all the COA units down by the detention basin. And that, fell apart. That building was not the best building in the hills. And so that and other examples, the planners have just determined that we are going to require an integrated development. So if you have 50 units, you have, 10 or 15 COA units, they're gonna be interspersed within that building and they're not all on floor one by the mechanical room. So these are the types of planning initiatives that the state wants codified. And if they're gonna extend our protections, and extend our immunities, they're all requiring every municipality to enact this model ordinance so that the whole state is uniform.
So essentially, that's why it's replacing whatever we have, which was chapter 52, I just looked up, was in 2017. So it's just gonna totally,
Replace it.
okay,
Yeah,
and based on what you got from the DCA website. So the overlay number, the 8 and the 12 or whatever it is, they're the same, because I don't remember what was in the housing element from last year. I remember it being passed, but I don't remember what was different than before, to be honest.
This 51 is our number from round 4.
Okay,
Affordable units.
plus what we had before
From
too.
round 3, which is the racial adjustment.
Yeah.
No, I don't wanna say the exact number, but I think it was like 1.
And something.
58.
One of
something
the,
around
oh, okay, okay. So those numbers are staying the same, it's just making it consistent with what the state wants to see.
Yeah,
Okay,
enforcement side.
okay, and I think it was the 23rd is your only planning board meeting that you can have before your
Correct.
public hearing, so. Okay, thank you.
Clerk, public comment or questions? The vote.
Motion to close.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.